Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to your weekly call, San Fernando Valley into the LA County area, homeowner advocate. I'm here with Terrel, Dr. Terrel Miller. How are you?
That could be me. Yep.
How were the holidays for you?
They were, as I say, where else should a vegetarian go for Thanksgiving dinner than Morton's Steakhouse? I mean,
That was a thing. You actually did that. That's an actual.
I actually did that. Yes. And I actually went, here's one of those interesting stories, clients that have become friends. And so we went, she and I usually do taxes together every year, and we sit in the room and work on them. And so we went to Thanksgiving dinner, and he had a 24-ounce porterhouse. I kept calling him Keto Boy. So
very keto.
Yeah.
I went the other way with the whole keto for the holidays and had
no keto,
no keto, which made all the sense in the world, which is why I started the day before cheating and just finished cheating yesterday. And now I feel completely awful and have aches and pains and so many other things.
And the carbs are vicious. I mean, it's like there's a whole, if you have a little, then you want a little bit more. And if that's good, then even more is better. And then, but wait, let's have more, so that's.
Yes. I think the 4 waffles last night at 11 o'clock was probably the crescendo on the whole thing for me. But I completely understand. So you were around lots of people for the holiday, I would imagine.
Yes, I was.
So here's the question I have that seems to be coming up on today's topics.
Yes.
Which is, have you encountered anybody who's done a forbearance agreement? This seems to be a growing trend in my conversations today of people who mistakenly took forbearance agreements, not knowing what they got involved in.
I actually have not crossed anyone with forbearance. I think I have mentioned to you that my sister applied for a modification, which was little more than a recasting.
Right.
So, I mean, that's exactly what it was. We went from 12 years to 30 years. It's like, well, thank you a lot. But, it's I think there's conversations out there. And I think from my perspective, people are like, oh, no, I paid already. So I don't know if they have or they haven't. When people react like that, I become a little suspicious because I didn't ask if they paid or if they got a forbearance. I just talk about it in general, and the reaction is, oh no, well, I paid. Okay.
Right.
So I think there is a little shadow going on over people that maybe that wasn't such a fabulous idea, especially if they could pay.
Right.
And
that brings up the next question, which is, well, I'm safe. It's the holidays. Nothing's going to happen during the holidays. From your perspective, historically speaking, is that the case?
Historically speaking, absolutely not. Absolutely not. They just assume foreclose in December is anything. I'm about to have a barking dog, I think. Maybe not. We'll see. Historically, over the past 30 plus years, holidays.
I would tend to agree with that. And I will go a step further. I've done evictions on the 24th of December. And guess what? Friday is the 24th. And if you have a sale date or you had to go through an unlawful detainer and that was your eviction date, that's really going to happen. That's not going to change because suddenly it's a holiday and apparently it's the government intervention question, right? If it's not being discussed, therefore it's not a thing. So in the Valley, big renter community out there as well.
Yeah. We have that combination of a big renter community plus that 1/3 of which is kind of normal of the population own their homes free and clear. So we have, the two ends of the continuum, and there's a sister that's joining us on camera.
Oh, sorry.
Real life.
There's proof that she actually exists.
There is proof that she actually
that we're not one person, one with a bun and one without.
Well, so here's my question, doctor. Have renters been suddenly forgiven that haven't been paid? Have they just ignored the renter community, or are they still working on evicting those people? And how are sort of the investors who own those 1 to 4 units actually handling it? Has there been an uptick in commercial? Has there Has something magically happened? Because clearly the media is not talking about evictions anymore. So obviously it's not happening.
Well, we have this program, and if people just have to apply for the program, and a lot of their rent payments will be paid if they apply for the program. And, so there's that stuff going on. Housing is Key is the name of it. I think it's a state program though. I'm not sure. Anyway, but there's some very specific criteria and so on, and whether or not you can hop on one foot and whistle and chew crackers all at the same time.
Or make $1 more than $99,999, which seems to be the biggest drop off. I try to explain this to everybody. If you're a normal human being in Southern California, you're probably in a household that's making more than $99,999, or you wouldn't be able to afford where you live, period.
Well, and that's a lot of it. Yeah. I mean, even, with a lot of the laws, well, you're as a senior, you're eligible for this if you make $12,000 or less. Really? Who lives on $12,000 or less? Or you have this other program, you can make $24,000 or less. Even still, we're talking big time poverty.
Yeah, it is still very much a paycheck to paycheck community, especially in Southern California. I try to think back when I was a regular 9-to-5 banker, it was always you're one paycheck away from disaster.
Right.
And I don't see anything with the way I could be wrong. Maybe San Diego has the highest cost of living as compared to Southern California, where you are, like the Valley or LA County. But I imagine they're probably comparable, and $5 or $6 a gallon for gas.
That's right. Yeah.
A gallon of milk being, I don't know what ungodly amount of money it is at this point.
I don't know either.
I don't know how people are keeping this all afloat, because the jobs in Southern California don't seem to indicate that people are working all that much. So I wonder where all the money's coming from, or if nobody's making payments in general. And since the FICO system is still off technically, nobody realizes the amount of difficulty that they've created by halting payments.
Well, and I would agree with you. I think there's people say, well, there's so many jobs available. Yeah, if you have those skills, but if you don't have those skills, there's no jobs available. There's that. And then there's the job that I have the skills for are in Orange County, or they're up in Bakersfield, but they're not here. And if I have to move, there's another expense, as well as, renting someplace else and all the cost that goes with that, and so then it becomes math. I mean, I don't know that people necessarily think of it that way. I do. I think, everything is math, but it's instinctual. It's like, we can't do it because it costs too much. It costs too much to leave this home, whether it's an apartment or a house or whatever, and move elsewhere.
The trap.
Even if the actual rent is less, because now all of the services, the power, the water, the internet, everything else becomes the deposit with the additional fees and blah, 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 blah. And it goes on. And then if one person can work, if it's a 2 working household and one's working here and then the other one gets a job someplace else, then the decision is, what do we do? Do we stay put with what we know, the devil known or the devil unknown? And, and sometimes the devil known is a better choice.
Which brings us to the Omnicron conundrum, right? LA County, which is still on lockdown, still haven't removed their masks, had to go back to masks because nobody wanted to listen the first time around. Unlike Florida, where they just said, have at it, whoever lives, whoever dies, have at it. I can't argue DeSantos's recovery of Florida in general. And people flocking to that, right? They want in their mind, it's a freedom issue as compared to a public health issue. How is it in the Valley now?
It's awful. I mean, it's awful. I mean, I'm a mask avoider. If I can get, as soon as I can, the mask comes off. I go in the market, I put it on. As soon as I walk out, I pull it off. It's a whole breathing thing for me. And it's just, I don't know how people as I'm very involved in the social club, and we have dances and people dance with their mask on. I would pass away. I would just pass away.
I would too.
And it just, I don't understand how they can do it, quite frankly. At the same time, I don't understand why people drive around in their cars with their masks on by themselves. And they do. And I'm thinking, What?
Is it
And
a
then, and
show
then
of
you see things,
solidarity in a strange socio way? Like,
yeah,
hey, I wear a mask. They're
yeah, look at me or something. But then at the same time, you see people take a puff off a cigarette, put their mask back on, and the smoke comes through the mask. And it's like, shoo.
yeah, that's
How much
kind of
is,
counterproductive. I just know this because I'm planning an event in March, as you know,
I do know.
and I'm losing the battle of what I can control at, say, a hotel or a private location, because Vegas is now having difficulty, and I guarantee Omnicron, which sounds more like a transformer than a COVID variant, it really does.
Does.
Omnicron, here to take over the planet. I'm losing control of that venue, right? So now does it make sense for me? I have to look at these long term and go, all right, maybe I should put it back at Sahara West, where I can control the room for the entire day, control the food. I can control what happens inside that environment. And these are serious things that
That's right.
everyone's got to start looking at it. And I don't think it's going to have a positive effect on the economy in general, which, just because it's not being reported on at the moment.
That's right.
I don't think that the supply shortage has changed. I don't think that the ebb and flow of real estate right now has changed. And I don't think the evictions have changed. We're just not reporting it. And it's an out of sight, out of mind moment.
Ergo, it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Right. And because I don't really deal with day to day of people like you do, I mean, is that what the pulse is like in the Valley? I mean, are people just, nobody's talking about it, it's not happening, neener.
Well, there is kind of like, again, and just using my social club as an example, and people will come to the bar and it's like, oh, the prices have gone up. And it's like, yeah, everywhere.
Right.
We don't get a discount because, I go, oh, hi, I'm of this club, therefore you should, go back to the old prices. That doesn't happen. We have to pay more, therefore you have to pay more. It's just, and then it's like, oh, right. I mean, it's like, there's an awareness, but it's definitely head in the sand. And that things should, the things that they want to be stuck should be stuck. And if they're not, it's like, whoa, what's happening? And so, yeah, no, there's a lot of denial, and then we have what I'm this pent up stuff. And we have people, I had picked up an 81-year-old friend and was driving her somewhere. And as we approached a red light, it was like a bus blew through the red light. A man was crossing with his dog. A bicyclist then was blowing through the red light, nearly took out the man and his dog. And then the car sitting next to us just ignored the red light as if red was the new green. And I'm going, where am I? But people aren't paying attention. I mean, and that's to me where it all really rolls back to, is people aren't paying attention. They just march through it. Oh yeah, my grocery bill is higher. Oh yeah, it costs more to fill up the car, with fuel, and they go, oh yeah, and then move on. And it's not like we got a problem.
I completely agree.
Because nobody wants to have to contend with the problem, I suspect, and
deal with it head on, right? And as we go into the holiday season, which brings us all the way full circle on this, which is, and I was just talking about this with someone else, this isn't going to go away during the holiday. Like the things that are happening to you, if you're a person having things happen to you, like probably fairly threatening letters like, hey, by the way, your forbearance agreement means you're in default and you owe us money, which, by the way, very actual, that they won't take action during the holiday. And the lack of education that's out there because, well, you're a realtor or a real estate agent, therefore you'll tell me the right thing to do. You as an investor wouldn't take advantage of me. Why, the bank would never take advantage of me. And which is the point of what we are and the education process. I started this whole company on a simple premise. Is it as simple as really teaching people the 9 alternatives to foreclosure? And from your perspective, how monumental for anybody at this moment to know those options from your point of view?
Well, first of all, I would absolutely agree with you. It's as simple as that. It's simple as knowing the 9 options. What's not simple is getting past, cousin Fred, Aunt Betty, who know more about it than anybody, because who knows why, but listening to them or what's heard on the radio and so on and so, I can just get a loan and get out of it. And it's like, then do that. but there's such resistance to knowing, because I think with knowledge comes responsibility.
I would argue that you yourself probably get more conversations based on the fact that you're a doctor than a realtor about real estate conversations, that being a doctor gives you more position than the word realtor, and a sense of safety for people.
Well, it does. However, I don't really push it out that hard. I mean, it's on my card, obviously. I don't say, call me Dr. Miller, that sort of thing. Although when I'm teaching now, I've picked up your habit of kind of doing that announcement before I start record, or when the recording starts, just to kind of, make that position. It's one of the things sometimes I do play that card and say, this is what I'll say my advanced graduate degree is in, which is public finance and public policy.
Right.
It's not, I don't know, whatever it could be. I mean, even if it was in, psychology or what have you.
Sure.
It's like, well, what does that have to do with real estate? It's like, well, where do you think disclosures come from? That's public policy. Where do you think all the financing decisions come from? Public finance. So it's like, oh, it's like there's no real connections of the dots until I guide them down that path. And I just, and it's just people, the fear causes people to lock off.
Simple as
And,
that.
and in the last round, as we both know, I mean, to have people just crack their door open after making an appointment to have us come over and talk with them, just to get that piece, the documents, just and I know one gal, I mean, she literally, she had her hand on the doorknob so that she could run and slam at the same time, going in the opposite directions, and it's like, wow, this one is scared, but they don't know what to do, but they can't take that breath to say, wow, maybe this person really can help me, because there's probably been too many paths that they've gone down and not gotten help.
Well, it doesn't help, right? Everybody's running a scam or an angle and trying to find the free dollar, and we get 50 emails a day. And we see it all the time with the appointments that we get, that people halfway think that this is a backdoor for something else, which it's not. It's just simply, we want to teach you your alternatives to foreclosure and help facilitate that. Whatever you decide, we're going to tell you what we think is your best option. But at the end of the day, these are your options. See which one fits, because one of these is going to happen. One of them, if not multiples of them, will actually happen. And it still bothers me to this day, psychologically, and I always deal with the psychology of it. I don't know why people are foreclosed upon. I mean, years now of searching this answer out of why would anyone let a bank foreclose upon them? I don't understand it at all. And I wonder if it's based on denial.
Yeah, it's denial, it's ignorance, and it's thinking, I don't know what, or not thinking. There's many things that have baffled me. For instance, you'll get the notice of default and 2 weeks later, the 12-foot fence is around it, the windows are boarded up. I'm thinking, why did they leave?
Right. Why did you go? What was that leather? Just a date? That was the one that did you in. And the other one that still blows my mind, which is, I'm going to trust the bank. They're going to do right by me. Why would you think that? You owe them money. I mean, it's literally like asking a great white shark how you want to be eaten.
Well, and I often make the comment to refer people to the downtown financial centers and whose names are on those high rises.
Right.
And it's not We Flip Houses.
Right. It is not.
It's like I say, they don't want your house, they want your money. If they can't get your money, they'll take the house and then they'll get your money. It's not complicated.
No.
It's just there's either it's the head in the sand denial, it's the holidays, they won't do anything, and it's like, it's their money.
It's three really simple principles. What's the house worth right now? What do you owe the bank right now? What can you get out of the house, and where is this guy? Like, this is where it's going. It's just, when do you want to jump off whatever denial you're in at this moment, that you have to take one of these actions. And
as I said earlier, it's just math. That's all
Really
it is. And
it really is.
And if, and again, if people have that problem, it's like, I can help you with that. And that's, I mean, that's kind of how I spin it is that how do I put you, the homeowner, back in the driver's seat? So you're making the decision for you and your family versus the bank making the decision for you. Right now, the bank's making the decision for you and doesn't feel good, does it? Because none of us like people making decisions for us, especially if we don't like the decision, you know?
Right.
And
Which
so,
leads to the improbable Hail Mary scenarios that
That's right.
start getting thrown at him from the friend of a friend who got a magic lucky lottery.
oh,
And I've never met these people, and I don't know how these stories start as a person who works in the bank, but being on the bank end of it, where people call me up and go, I want XYZ. What makes you think you get XYZ? Well, I know a friend who was with a bank and they got it with that bank. Cool. That's not how it works. Every single case is unique. Every single scenario is unique. There is no such thing as a cookie cutter, no matter what people think. I don't care what the program is.
that's right.
It's not that simple. It never is.
No. And it's, I mean, it's the same, you know, thing with real estate transactions, you know, because there's always going to be different humans involved. Therefore, it's different. Period. You know, there's no, you know, there's no two transactions that are going to be identical.
I completely agree. Down below is Dr. Miller's information. Call Terrel.
Call
Talk
me.
to her. Learn your 9 alternatives. Is there anything you'd like to add for this week as we start the holiday season? Do you have Christmas lights up already? Or are you dead set on it's got to be December 1st?
None of the above.
I don't blame you. I actually caught myself this weekend. I was talking about this on the earlier call. I got swept up in, oh, I need to buy holiday lights and I need to, who am I talking? Like I was talking myself into what everybody else was doing. And I'm the first guy to go, you can't do that. You're not everybody else. What? I've never put them up before. I don't. What is
Today you're going to start.
Today I'm going to start because everybody else was doing it. And we talked about it on the earlier call, which is
That's right.
why is everybody standing in that line? I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be the only person in the neighborhood without lights on my house. You know, I have my new house off the freeway right here over Little Italy. It needs lights. Why? Because everybody else is doing it. Oh, yeah, that's.
Well, to that end, I would say, first of all, pay attention. So if somebody else has lights, doesn't mean you have to get them, but you can enjoy somebody else's lights and just pay attention to what's going on around you. That's my advice for this week.
I believe it's to quote Fleetwood Mac, you can go your own way.
Yes,
you can. It'll be okay.
it will be okay.
It will be okay. And every situation is different. And take advantage of the links down below. Give Terrel a call, have her come over and teach you the 9 alternatives to foreclosure. Guess what? She'll even follow up with you. You don't have to do anything. She'll
That's
do
right.
all of that for you and keep telling you
And
about
more.
your options and keeping
And
track
more.
of your dates.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple for you. Don't go into the holidays with that stress load. It's not worth
Not
it.
worth
And
it.
this is really kind of the first holiday back where people can get together. I would imagine if I was worried about making, I don't know, a year's worth of payments, I'd be a little stressed out through the holidays and might put a bit of a damper on it.
Yeah.
So give Terrel a call. Anything you'd like to add this week?
Just like I said, pay attention. There's a lot of information out there, but pay attention.